Hey guys, it's me, Doug, the bearded hippie. Well, with the legalization of pot just days away, I want to share a little bit about the difference between edibles and smoking cannabis. This is really important to me, and you're going to find out why. And I hope you find this story a little funny along the way. Um, I'm going to post a video in the comments so that you can get a professional opinion and proper dosing recommendations. But I decided to share a personal experience rather than bore you with the technical terms and mumbo jumbo. Um, as you may or may not know, I am a legal medical grower and a user of medical marijuana. I've been doing it for years and years and years. I used to take insane amount of hydromorphone and all of those crazy pills that you hear people overdosing on. That was my life, and there were months of it that I don't remember. And I was taking it the way they told me to. I knew I had to do something. So I went to my doctor and I told him, listen, I can't do this anymore. I need something, a way to do this. I decided marijuana I was going to try it anyway. So I smoke more in one day than most of you guys could probably smoke in a month. Now there's maybe half a dozen, maybe 10 people on my friends list, and you know who you are. That probably doesn't go along with. They could probably keep up to me quite easily, men and women. But my tolerance is very high, and I mainly smoke concentrates like oil and shatter. Comparing oil to weed, it's kind of like comparing a Ferrari to a Ford Tempo. Both are going to get you where you got to go, but the Ferrari is going to be way faster and much more intense. Most edibles I've encountered is made with butter. It's where the weed is put through an extraction process and infused with regular butter, and then put in recipes to medicate the food. A friend I know, let's call him Frank, he made spectacular brownies. I mean, these things are awesome. Frank, like myself, is a heavy medical user who suffers from pain and anxiety, just like me. So Frank made a batch of brownies that was, for lack of a better term, the moonshine of pot brownies. They were delicious, totally enjoyable, and as potent as a pallet of moonshine. I was impressed. I mean, unreal. I'm surprised these brownies weren't glowing green. 4 brownies magically appeared in my freezer. I decided I'd never be able to eat all these mutant strength brownies. I thought, well, a brownie magically appeared in 2 other heavy use medical patients. What are you going to do? But they came with a warning, and the warning said, don't eat all of this brownie. Split into quarters and wait a half hour or so between eating each quarter so it doesn't kick your ass. Now, both of these people were heavy users of cannabis, and by heavy I mean they could smoke a half to a full ounce every day and not even think twice about it. You get 2 good joints to a gram, so you could do the math on how much they were smoking. Their tolerance was insanely high, much like mine. I ate a quarter of my brownie. It was delicious. You know, the recipe from the back of the cocoa box, it's rich and creamy and tastes like more. Yeah, that's what he makes it with. Oh, so good. Well, I waited. And I waited. And then an hour later, whammo. Glued to the couch, unable to do anything other than watch television. I call that feeling super baked. It's where you go to help yourself sleep with intense pain. I don't know if you ever tried to sleep with a toothache. That's kind of what it's like when you have neuropathy. You get these banging pulses and it's just, insane. So you basically need to knock yourself out. So that's where super baked comes from. It turns you off. And you just zone right out. So, now those 2 guys each had a brownie. And friend 1 decided that he was going to share it with his wife. and that their tolerance was high enough that they could each eat half of a brownie. They remarked how delicious it was, and they went on their evening. 30 minutes later, my friend said to his wife that he isn't feeling anything, and he's going to roll a joint. They shared that joint too. 45 minutes later, they were both laying in bed, wondering if this was the end for them. I mean, like, seriously. My friend knew what was happening. The slowly metabolized brownie finally kicked in and said a big "how you doing" to that joint they smoked. Both were in the throes of a massive panic attack. Rapid heart rate, sweating, heavy breathing. Not fun. His wife wants to call the ambulance. He convinces her that if they fall asleep, they'll be okay in the morning. Both were still high when they got up the following day, but they could manage with normal day-to-day chores. Friend number 2 took out his brownie and decided, well, if it should be quartered, then he would share the love. He had a quarter as well as the 2 friends that were over playing cards, and they also smoked a couple of joints over a few hours. The card party broke up before the brownie really took effect, and my friend was left alone with a case of the munchies. Nothing in the cupboard. Too late to order pizza. Brownie. I'll eat the other piece of brownie. Well, he had a shower and went to lay in his bed and watch TV. Then it hit him. Brownie quarter number 1 mixed with those joints and had him flying, and he was enjoying his TV shows. Then that second piece of brownie, it showed up. He went from a good buzz to a full-on panic attack with sweats and puking. He told me he was hanging onto the sides of the toilet so that he was puking so hard. He said the spins were worse than anything he had from drinking. He decided he needed to sleep it off, and at 4 a.m. he woke up and was every bit as high as when he went to bed. More puking, more sweating, and he laid there for 2 hours convincing himself he was going to be okay. Now, this was a guy that bleeds cannabis when he cuts his finger. He can handle smoking weed, but edibles aren't the same as smoking weed. Not even close. I guess I wanted to share this so people don't end up in the emergency room. If you have college kids and you don't want them smoking it, I get that. I really do. I wouldn't want my kids smoking either. But buy them a quality vaporizer with a temperature control. Lower temperatures release the THC into the chamber, but there's no smoke. Higher temperatures is the same as doing it in a bong or a pipe. The lower temperature vaporizers, it's not like any of those god-awful vapes with the cake-flavored juice and all that crap. Most of them sit on a big table, and they're digital, and they allow the full flavored and the effects of the cannabis to be enjoyed without inhaling smoke. I really don't think anybody should be eating edibles until they're used to the feeling of weed, because nobody really should learn how to drive in a Ferrari. It's only my opinion, but and my personal experience, and everybody metabolizes things differently, and this was an extreme situation with mutant pot brownies that, well, they cause veterans to completely lose their minds and panic. Eating 10 milligrams of medicated chocolate would equal about a crumb to that brownie, but 10 milligrams is a real dose for someone who seldom uses the product. So I guess I'm going to sign off here, but if you want more cannabis-related info, like, everybody's allowed to grow 4. You need to know a couple of tips and tricks, I can help you. If you want to know more about the effects of brownies, how to make concentrates, the difference between concentrates, what's the difference between oil, shatter, ash. There's also press. It makes it, they just basically squeeze the bud in a press, and this goo comes out of the side, and that's just basically pure THC. So yeah, if there's anything you want to know, if you think I should make another video, let me know, whatever, drop me a line, and I'll do the best to help you out. But I had to put this out here before I ended up seeing any of my friends' kids in a hospital, because these edibles, they taste freaking good, Yeah, so do them a favor, talk to them about it, tell them candy bars taste really good, gummy bears are awesome. How about eating one after smoking in your vaporizer? Get the munchies, eat a Snickers, not a medicated one. That's just my opinion. Talk to you later.